The story kicked off with a boy waking up in a room that definitely was not his bedroom. His eyes slowly opened, and the first thing he saw was a woman leaning over him. For a split second, his brain tried to process the situation and landed on the dumbest possible conclusion. He thought she might be his mom. That idea died instantly. This woman was straight up a hot baddie, not a tired parent yelling about homework. At that exact moment, reality slapped him across the face. Not only was he not in his old body, he had been downgraded to a literal infant. And he checked his status and discovered that all his stats had been reset back to level 1. Worse than that, his name was completely gone. Bro didn't just lose his build, he lost his identity too. Before he could mentally scream about it, a tall man wearing full armor entered the room like he owned the place. The woman immediately bowed and addressed him as the king. Not long after that, the baby was carried into a formal ceremony where a priest was waiting to assign him a name. The priest officially named him Noah and declared him the 13th Imperial Prince. The moment Noah checked his status again, Imperial Prince had been slapped onto his title. Once the naming ceremony wrapped up, the emperor asked about Noah's affinity. The priest replied that it was water, and that his assigned fief would be Almeria, a land heavily populated by the Water Clan. Hearing that, the emperor visibly relaxed, like he had just avoided a political migraine, but then things escalated fast. The emperor ordered the priest to reveal Noah's full stats. The moment they appeared, the entire room went dead silent. Every single stat was already maxed out. On top of that, his water affinity had reached SS rank, and this kid had been alive for only a few hours. And everyone present instantly realized they were witnessing the birth of an absolute monster. At that point, Noah understood the truth. He had been given a second life, reincarnated as a noble prodigy in a brokenly powerful body. The empire he was reborn into was known as the Mir's Empire, a warrior nation tucked deep within harsh mountain ranges. Its capital sat on an open plain, and the empire was currently in a golden age where wealth kept multiplying like it was farming interest. Fast forward 6 years. By this point, Noah finally figured out how his power really worked. To everyone else, his stats looked absurdly high, but the truth was way more interesting. His strength didn't come from himself alone. His numbers were inflated by his subordinates. His S-rank water skill came entirely from Almeria, the territory under his control. Other stat boosts came from the maids serving him. The more people he had under him, the stronger he became. Once the maids finished dressing him, they sent him downstairs. As soon as he left, they immediately started whispering among themselves about how strange he was. Any normal kid his age would be a walking disaster, breaking things and causing chaos. Noah, on the other hand, was calm, composed, and mentally older than half the nobles in the palace. As during lunch, Evelyn, the beautiful maid in charge of hospitality, approached him and informed him that the crown prince and the fourth prince had come to visit. She added that they said he could take his time eating. Noah immediately shut that idea down. He knew exactly who the crown prince was, and letting someone like that wait was basically suicide with extra steps. He soon met his older brothers, Albert, the crown prince, and Henry, the fourth prince. After exchanging polite greetings, Albert revealed that they had brought Noah a gift. Right on cue, a visibly terrified servant walked in carrying a sword case. A dark, suffocating aura leaked out of it, making the air feel heavy. Albert ordered the servant to open it. The moment the case opened, Noah felt a chill crawl up his spine. He started hearing screams, soldiers crying, begging, and pleading for their lives. These weren't hallucinations. He could tell immediately. Albert then calmly told Noah to pick up the sword. Noah internally screamed, but refusing a gift from the crown prince wasn't an option. He picked it up carefully. It was heavy at first, but he managed to stabilize himself. Albert explained that the sword was called Leviathan, a water element weapon known as the strongest sword in the entire empire. Over 120 people had died just trying to use it. Seeing Noah tense up, Henry casually added that anyone unworthy would be killed the moment they touched it. The fact that Noah was still breathing meant he was at least qualified. Albert then patted Noah on the back and walked out, calling it a valuable demonstration. Noah couldn't believe it. And this bastard had just used a cursed sword as a test and could have gotten him killed without blinking. Of course, Noah kept that thought locked deep inside his head, because saying it out loud would have gotten him executed on the spot. As they walked away, Henry asked if leaving Leviathan with Noah was really a good idea, especially given how expensive it was. Albert replied that the sword belonged with someone as brilliant as Noah. Then he added something far more disturbing. Precisely because Noah was so talented, he needed to know what it felt like to be bitten by his own pet. Later that night, Noah noticed that one of his maids, Zoe, was acting strangely nervous. When he asked what was wrong, she tried to brush it off, but Noah pressed her. After hesitating, she admitted that her hometown Dasso had been flooded. Her family farm was destroyed, and it had been her mother's only source of income. With no options left, Zoe had been considering working in the red light district, since former servants of imperial princes sold for a high price. Noah shut that down instantly. There was no way he would allow that. Instead, he offered to employ her mother at the mansion mansion as the gatekeeper and promised a generous salary. Zoe pointed out that the pay was absurdly high. Noah then added that there was an unused house nearby where she and her mother could live together. Hearing this, Zoe broke down crying and thanked him repeatedly. But Noah wasn't doing this purely out of kindness. Having one of his servants working in the red light district would permanently stain his name. Zoe was his servant, and that meant lifelong loyalty. After this, he was confident she would never betray him. Afterward, Noah summoned the butler, Dylan, and explained the flooding in Dasso. He ordered Dylan to buy as much land there as possible, knowing that bandits would eventually exploit the chaos. Securing the land early was critical. Dylan was stunned. Despite Noah's age, his foresight was terrifyingly sharp. In truth, Noah had lived through this exact scenario in his previous life, but that was a secret he would take to the grave. Dylan agreed the plan was smart, but raised the obvious problem. Buying that much land would cost hundreds of thousands of Rien. Noah realized he hadn't thought that part through. After a moment, he calmly decided they would sell the land they owned south of the capital. Dylan immediately questioned whether selling the land was even a sane idea. That land had been personally gifted to Noah by the emperor himself, and selling it without permission could easily be labeled as a serious crime. Basically, it was the kind of mistake that could get someone executed with a polite smile. Noah, however, told him to relax. He explained that if the emperor got angry, he would personally take full responsibility for the decision. According to Noah, this was exactly what being a noble meant. You sacrifice your comfort so other people don't suffer. The next day, Noah wasted no time. The land was sold, the funds were liquidated, and he prepared to buy as much land as humanly possible. He even decided to inspect the area in person. That was when his brother Henry showed up unannounced. Henry immediately noticed Noah bringing the Leviathan sword along and asked what the hell he was planning. Noah explained that he had felt some kind of power coming from the sword earlier, but that sensation had completely disappeared. Since they were heading to Dasso anyway, he figured this was the perfect chance to test it. Henry then dropped an important detail. Leviathan wasn't just a weapon. It had a will of its own and only obeyed someone it recognized as its true master. Hearing this, Noah instantly understood the problem. The sword wasn't broken. It just didn't respect him yet. At the moment, Leviathan was basically a violent, unstable mutt that needed to be tamed. Henry warned him that he could bring the sword along, but he should never use it unless the timing was perfect. Otherwise, it could kill him without hesitation. When they finally arrived at Dasso, the scene was grim. The flood had turned the entire area into a lifeless wasteland. Most of the homes were destroyed, and it was obvious that many families had lost their land deeds in the disaster. That meant land purchases would have to be done through official government records instead. As Noah and Zoe continued surveying the area, they noticed Empire caterers distributing food to the villagers. Noah grabbed a bowl and immediately realized something was wrong. The food tasted awful and borderline spoiled. When he commented on it, one of the villagers overheard and said they couldn't complain. They were lucky to get anything at all. Hearing this made Noah furious. The Empire serving garbage to disaster victims was beyond unacceptable. Right on cue, the local government official, Lord Garl, arrived to inspect the area. Garl knew exactly how terrible the food was and didn't care in the slightest. He wasn't the one eating it after all. Noah finally had enough and confronted him directly, accusing him of embezzling disaster relief funds. Noah pointed out that instead of feeding the people properly, Garl was stealing money and serving them slop. Garl didn't even bother denying it. He proudly admitted that those at the top deserved to eat first and laughed about it with his men like the absolute parasite he was. That attitude pushed Noah past his limit. He warned Garl about the consequences of his crimes. Garl, however, didn't appreciate a child talking back to him. Like the idiot he was, he drew his sword and prepared to attack. At that exact moment, Leviathan burst out of its case on its own and hovered beside Noah. The sword began testing him, flooding his body with overwhelming power to judge his worth. Parts of Noah's body started darkening as the curse threatened to consume him. Just as it looked like he was about to lose, Noah's willpower exploded. Fueled by pure adrenaline, he endured the sword's power and forced it to submit. Leviathan finally acknowledged him as its master. Enraged, Garl charged to kill Noah, but Noah struck first. With one clean swing, Leviathan removed Garl's head like it was nothing. His lackeys rushed forward, but Noah slammed Leviathan into the ground. The impact created a massive crater so deep that the bottom couldn't even be seen. Even Noah was shocked by how insane the sword's power was. Moments later, Rowan, the knight captain assigned to Dasso, arrived and froze at the scene. When he recognized Noah as the 13th Imperial Prince, he immediately dropped to one knee. Everyone else followed once Rowan announced Noah's identity. Noah calmly explained Garl's crimes and ordered Rowan to punish the remaining corrupt officials. He also commanded that proper food distribution resume immediately. The villagers erupted with praise, thanking Noah for saving them. Meanwhile, Albert received news that Noah had successfully tamed Leviathan. He smirked. realizing Noah was far more valuable than he initially thought. Later, Noah met his father, fully expecting punishment for selling royal land. Instead, the emperor thanked him. Noah's actions had prevented bandits from exploiting the flood. The emperor was also pleased that Noah mastered Leviathan. When Noah's stats were checked again, his water skill had risen to triple-S rank due to the massive number of subordinates he gained during the crisis. Deeply impressed, the emperor asked Noah to continue serving the empire, and Noah agreed. The next day, Noah visited a small diner on Raid Street to look for a street singer he'd heard about. After taking a seat, he quietly observed the place. Soon, a pink-haired girl stepped forward and began singing. But Noah recognized her as Alaki. Her voice wasn't bad, but her technique clearly needed work. Still, it was obvious she took her singing seriously. This wasn't a hobby, it was survival. The atmosphere shifted instantly when 3 rough-looking men burst in, shouting at Alaki for not paying her parents' debt. She shrank back in fear, explaining she didn't have enough money and was doing everything she could. The men began discussing other ways she could repay them, making the entire diner sick with disgust. Before things escalated, Noah stood up and calmly reminded them that imperial law forbade forcing a child to pay their parents' debts. One of them grabbed Noah by the shirt. That was their last mistake. Noah released Leviathan's power, shocking everyone. The men panicked and fled the diner immediately. Afterward, Noah gently asked Alaki about her expenses. She explained that most of her money went toward her mother's medical treatment. Noah told her he would pay her 25 rien every month so she could focus on singing. Overwhelmed, Alaki promised she wouldn't let him down. That night, Noah returned home and found the same 3 men kneeling at the palace gate begging for forgiveness. Noah realized they had finally learned who he was. Instead of meeting them, he ordered the maids to send them away. Henry later agreed, explaining that letting people like them meet royalty too easily would weaken the authority of the throne. Noah explained that avoiding them would also keep them terrified enough to stay away from Alaki. That Henry was deeply impressed by Noah's foresight. When Henry asked about Leviathan, Noah confirmed he had mastered it and demonstrated by summoning it instantly. Henry was stunned. Noah explained the sword had been hidden beneath his sleeve and expanded on command. Leviathan itself taught him the trick. Later, the men tried attacking again but froze in terror when Noah released a hint of power. That evening, Noah attended a royal ball. When he revealed Leviathan at his waist, the room went silent. Someone accused it of being fake. Noah released a fraction of its power, and the guests immediately cowered. There was no doubt left. The real Leviathan belonged to Noah. For the rest of the event, nobles started lining up like it was a meet and greet with a celebrity. One after another, they introduced themselves to Noah, bowing politely and talking about how honored they were to stand before him. Noah handled it calmly, listening to each introduction and responding with perfect, noble manners, even though half of them were clearly just fishing for favor. Eventually, a new pair stepped forward. It was Brian Allen, the head of the powerful Bryan Company, accompanied by his daughter Cindy. Noah quietly observed them for a moment, and almost instantly something clicked. Cindy wasn't Brian's biological daughter. Not only that, she had once been a slave. Noah recognized it from her eyes. That cautious, constantly alert look wasn't something you could fake. It was the kind of stare only people who had lived in chains developed. Brian froze when Noah pointed this out. Completely stunned, he dropped to his knees and admitted it was true. He explained that he had originally bought Cindy as a slave, but after seeing how intelligent and fast she learned, he couldn't bring himself to treat her like property. Instead, he adopted her as his daughter. Hearing this genuinely made Noah smile. Stories like this were rare, and he respected the hell out of people who chose kindness over convenience. Noah warmly invited Brian and Cindy to visit his mansion someday, saying he would love to hear more about her journey. Brian accepted respectfully, and the two of them bowed before leaving the event. The next day, Noah was taking a relaxed walk through town when he ran into his brother Oscar, 8th Prince. After some casual conversation, Oscar admitted he was bored out of his mind and suggested going on a treasure hunt. Noah agreed, and the two headed toward Cobalt Street. Cobalt Street was famous across the empire. Antiques from every corner could be found there, but so could mountains of fake junk. Oscar explained that being able to tell real treasures from scams was considered a basic survival skill for nobles. The two spent hours browsing shops and stalls, but everything turned out to be trash or overpriced nonsense. Eventually, Oscar suggested calling it a day. Just before leaving, Noah noticed a book that caught his attention and decided to buy it. Oscar glanced at it and immediately froze. The book was the Grimoire of Andrea, the legendary sorcerer. If it was real, it could be worth up to 1,000 rien. And Oscar asked how Noah knew it was authentic. The truth was, Noah had no clue. The only reason he bought it was because touching the book had increased his win stat by 1, which was weird enough to make him curious. Then, Noah got an idea. He pulled out the Leviathan sword and slowly poured its energy into the grimoire. things went sideways fast. The book slipped from his hands, fell open, and activated on its own. In an instant, the forbidden tome and the sealed soul of the sorceress materialized right in front of them. Oscar immediately realized how screwed they were and shouted for Noah to run. Noah didn't move. Instead, he calmly raised Leviathan and swung once. One clean slash erased the sorceress's soul completely. Just like that, it was over. Checking his status afterward, Noah noticed his wind skill had jumped to SS rank. He was surprised, but didn't dwell on it. Before Oscar could even process it, a merchant stepped forward and knelt. He introduced himself as Alan, the owner of a nearby antique shop. After witnessing what Noah had done, Alan felt compelled to show them an artifact he believed was a true treasure. He led them to his shop and presented a strange ring. According to legend, the ring only revealed its true form to its rightful owner. Many people had tried wearing it, but nothing ever happened. Noah assumed it was useless junk. Alan disagreed and explained that no matter how many times he tried to sell or discard it, the ring always reappeared in his shop. Curious, Noah tried it on. The moment it touched his finger, a voice spoke directly into his mind, declaring that it was of triple rarity and had recognized him as its master. The ring released light and transformed into a full set of high-grade armor around Noah's body. Oscar and Alan immediately understood. Noah was the true owner. Noah told Alan he would take the ring and send payment later, but Oscar stepped in and said he would handle the cost himself, treating it as a gift. Noah accepted, and not long after, Oscar dropped him off at home. Just as Noah was about to enter, the same thug from the diner charged at him with a sword. The ring reacted instantly, forming a shield that blocked the attack completely. The carriage driver tackled the attacker and restrained him. Oscar watched everything and realized that Noah had already begun mastering the ring. That night, Noah returned to the diner to hear Alaki sing. Mid-performance, two drunk idiots jumped on stage and started fighting over her. Noah appeared instantly and sent both men flying out of the diner with Leviathan, leaving them sprinting away in nothing but their underwear. Afterward, Noah told the owner not to allow people like that inside anymore. The owner sighed and admitted those types kept his business alive. Noah solved the problem by offering to buy the entire place for 1,000 rien. Alaki thanked Noah, unsure how to repay him. Noah told her she didn't have to. All he wanted was for her to keep singing and dedicate herself to her music. She agreed with a warm smile. Noah spent the rest of the night quietly listening to her voice. The next day, a maid informed Noah that Dead Marley, Governor General of Holjoy, had arrived. Noah assumed it was related to his fief and invited him in. Holjoy was a fertile region along a massive river, famous for grain production but plagued by floods. Dead admitted the region was too poor to maintain flood control and asked Noah for a loan. Noah found this suspicious, since it was an imperial order and should have been funded. Dead explained that the Ministry of Finance kept delaying the funds. Noah immediately took him to confront Maverick, the Minister of Finance. Maverick claimed Holjoy had received a tax exemption and should still have money left. Noah saw through the lie instantly and demanded the truth. Maverick finally admitted the funds were being diverted to finance the Emperor's upcoming vacation. Noah shut that down immediately, threatening to report everything to the Emperor. Maverick panicked, begged for mercy, and agreed to send full funding. Dead watched in awe as Noah made a top official grovel without lifting a finger. After Dead returned to Holjoy, a royal messenger summoned Noah. The Emperor praised him for his decisive actions and stopping the embezzlement. Noah accepted the praise, but couldn't help wondering how the Emperor knew so fast. Right after everything settled, the Emperor turned toward Noah, casually patted him on the head, and praised him for what he had accomplished. He said that Noah's actions were far beyond what anyone would expect from someone his age. Noah was so caught off guard by the praise that he actually blushed a little, which only made the moment more awkward and wholesome at the same time. The Emperor didn't stop there. He decided to hire Damien, the strongest swordsman in the entire empire, to personally train Noah. Damien wasn't just good. He was the kind of swordsman nobody could defeat, the final boss of blade combat. Even so, Damien felt it would be irresponsible to train Noah without first testing his current level. So they skipped the small talk and jumped straight into sparring. As the fight began, something strange happened. Noah started feeling memories and techniques flowing into him, echoes of every previous Leviathan wielder, even though his body was still that of a child. That his movements were sharp and precise. In a blink, Noah used a Leviathan technique and disarmed Damien cleanly. Damien immediately turned to the Emperor, bowed deeply, apologized, and admitted defeat. He said there was nothing left he could teach Noah. The boy had already mastered the Leviathan technique perfectly. The Emperor burst out laughing, clearly enjoying the moment, and praised Noah once again for being completely unfair to reality. With that settled, the Emperor made another bold decision. He appointed Noah as the head judge of the Knight selection exam. He believed no one else was more qualified for the role. Noah stepped forward and accepted the responsibility with a small, confident smile. The next day, Noah learned that some villages only sent one candidate each year. Zoe explained that this wasn't because of lack of talent, but because they couldn't afford travel and lodging. Noah refused to let money decide who got a future. He told Zoe he would cover all travel expenses. Then he ordered Dylan to buy every vacant house in the capital and convert them into dormitories. For food, Dylan was instructed to coordinate with merchants to supply meals regularly. Later that day, Noah met Byron, the man overseeing logistics. When Noah checked the bill, he noticed it was suspiciously low. Byron claimed it was a discount because Noah was a prince. Noah immediately called bullshit, and he asked what Byron really wanted. Caught off guard, Byron admitted they hoped Noah would help with the palace employment exam, which ran on a similar scale. Noah quickly realized Byron wanted to sneak a girl into the palace system. Noah understood the motive. Having someone inside meant access to information. He agreed, but only if he personally approved the candidate. Byron confidently assured him that he would like her and bowed deeply. He even promised to display his family crest on his store as a sign of loyalty. Noah accepted, but made one thing very clear. Betrayal would not be tolerated. On the way home, Noah noticed something strange. One of his stats increased after accepting Byron as a subordinate, but another stat dropped. That instantly set off alarms in his head. Something was wrong in Almeria. And he told Zoe to prepare immediately and went straight to the Emperor. When Noah explained the situation, the Emperor's response made it clear he already knew. A rebellion had broken out in Almeria. Noah realized his stat dropped from SS to S, and because of the way it happened, he concluded the rebellion was still small. The Emperor confirmed it. Around 5,000 rebels were identified. The Emperor asked how Noah planned to handle it. Noah admitted honestly that he couldn't. He was young, inexperienced, and unsure if soldiers would even listen to him. He suggested sending Henry instead. The Emperor respected the decision and summoned Henry immediately. An hour later, Noah and Henry rode out together. Henry was surprised Noah gave up such a golden opportunity. Suddenly, Leviathan sensed danger. When Noah ordered the carriage to stop and realized the attackers were targeting him, he stepped out alone, raised a shield just in time, and blocked several water-based attacks. The rebels revealed themselves, but Noah cut them down swiftly with Leviathan. Examining their bodies, Noah noticed they were cavalry soldiers. That didn't make sense. Almeria had no war horses. The next day, Noah met Byron again and explained everything. He handed him 10,000 rion and ordered him to buy all available horse feed. Since war horses weren't sold openly, the rebels had to be stealing feed from civilians. Cut the supply and they'd expose themselves. Byron immediately praised the plan and rushed to carry it out. The following day, Noah was summoned again. The Emperor explained the rebels had tried to kidnap him as leverage. Noah suspected they were lying. The Emperor casually confirmed this and mentioned torture as his method of truth verification. Noah decided not to ask questions. The Emperor praised Noah's horse feed strategy and patted his shoulder, commending his ideas and speed of execution. As a reward, he granted Noah permission to add a sword to his crest, an honor so rare it could normally get someone executed if done without approval. Later, Byron updated Noah about the rebel leader Carfun, a ruthless and persistent man. Noah sensed there was more to this warning. Moments later, a wounded soldier arrived at the gate. The man refused to join the rebellion and risked his life to report directly to Noah. Even though the information was redundant, Noah thanked him, ordered treatment, and rewarded him with 1,000 rion. Byron questioned the reward, but Noah explained that loyalty deserved recognition. Byron finally began to understand Noah's leadership style. That evening, while Noah worked through paperwork, Zoe entered nervously and revealed shocking news. A random man had offered her 500 riyan to slip a sleeping drug into Noah's drink. And just like that, things were about to get ugly. The moment Noah hears about the bribe, everything clicks instantly. This is not some random idiot trying to drug him for fun. This is the rebels' desperate little sleep and kidnap plan straight out of the bargain bin villain handbook. And he calmly asks Zoe why she came to him instead of pocketing the 500 riyan and pretending nothing happened. Zoe immediately explains that betraying him was never even an option. After everything Noah did for her mother, selling him out would be worse than selling her own soul. She would rather starve than stab him in the back. Hearing this, Noah quietly walks back to his desk, grabs a pen, and writes her a check for 5,000 riyan. Not 500, 5,000. He casually adds an extra zero like he's correcting a typo because loyalty apparently has interest rates now. His logic is simple. If she refused to sell him out for 500, then she deserves 10 times that for staying loyal. Zoe panics instantly and refuses, saying the amount is insane. Noah shuts that down immediately and tells her to take it. She earned it. End of discussion. Zoe bows so deeply she nearly kisses the floor, tears pouring down as she keeps thanking him and calling him a truly generous master. Once she calms down, Noah tells her he has one more job for her. Zoe snaps to attention and says she will do whatever he asks, no hesitation. That is when Noah drops the most unhinged plan imaginable. He explains that he is going to drink the drug on purpose. He will pretend to fall asleep, let the rebels abduct him, and once they leave, Zoe must immediately run and hide. If she sticks around, the rebels would absolutely kill her without a second thought. That night, the plan goes into motion. Noah wakes up in the back of a moving wagon, hands and feet tied like a discount hostage. Fortunately for him, he hid the Leviathan beforehand, so he still has access to it. Even better, the idiots guarding him forgot to take his ring. Apparently, searching prisoners properly is not part of rebel training. Using the ring, Noah quietly cuts his bindings and frees himself. Before doing anything else, he asks the Leviathan to show him her memories from after he passed out. Through her perspective, he watches the rebels sneak into the mansion and carry him away like thieves stealing furniture. Now fully aware of the situation, Noah decides playtime is over. The 3 bandits guarding him notice him standing up inside the wagon. Noah pulls out the Leviathan and instantly kills one of them on the spot. The other 2 freeze, brains completely crashing as they try to process what they just saw. A second later, they snap out of it and rush him together. Noah solos them effortlessly, cutting them down like weeds. The fight ends almost immediately, clean and brutal. Soon after, Zoe arrives with a search party. The moment Noah sees her, he scolds her for coming after him when he explicitly told her to hide. He then orders the soldiers to collect the bodies. As one soldier bends down to pick up a dagger from the ground, Noah suddenly shouts for him to stop. Everyone freezes. Noah orders them all to back away while he steps closer and examines the weapon himself. The dagger is wrong, completely wrong, and it is overflowing with malicious energy so thick it feels like hatred given physical form. Noah immediately realizes this thing is cursed, soaked in the rage of its last owner. Focusing on the energy, Noah connects the dots. This dagger belongs to the rebel leader. Using the Leviathan, Noah locks onto that energy signature and unleashes a long-range attack. The strike travels across insane distances, ripping through space itself until it reaches its target. The rebel leader is erased instantly. No speech, no last words, no drama, just deleted. The next day, Noah meets with the Emperor. The Emperor praises him for accomplishing something most people could never even imagine. With the rebel leader dead, the rebels fall into chaos and are quickly crushed by Prince Henry. Everyone involved in the uprising is arrested soon after. With the crisis over, it is time for judgment. After thinking it through, the Emperor orders the executioner to prepare for drawing and quartering the traitors. The court erupts in approval, satisfied with the harsh punishment. Then Noah steps forward. Calm, respectful, and absolutely fearless, he tells the Emperor that this punishment is not wise. The entire room goes silent. Noah explains that imperial law is very clear. Those who planned the uprising must be cut in half at the waist, while those who merely participated are to be hanged. He points out that drawing and quartering violates imperial law and undermines the Emperor's authority. If the Emperor ignores his own laws, it gives others a reason to question every future judgment. The Emperor pauses. Then he realizes Noah is right, and he changes the ruling immediately and orders the punishments to be carried out exactly according to imperial law. He thanks Noah for correcting him and protecting the integrity of the empire. Everyone present is stunned. A child just corrected the Emperor publicly and walked away alive. Impressed beyond words, the Emperor decides Noah deserves a reward. He grants him the special title of Wise. Noah's status updates instantly to Wise Prince, an honor that has never existed before. The title spreads instantly, and Noah is now openly praised as the Wise Prince. The Emperor then reminds him that the Knight selection exam is approaching and asks how he plans to judge the candidates. Noah says he already has a plan and demonstrates it immediately. Then servants throw water at him while he uses his protection ring to block and deflect it. He explains that during the exam, candidates will attack him directly. Based on the strength, control, and effectiveness of their attacks, he will judge their worth. The Emperor is impressed but warns that this method is dangerous. If someone breaks through, Noah could be seriously hurt. Noah calmly says he has already prepared countermeasures. That confidence seals it. The Emperor praises him again and says the Empire is fortunate to have such a brilliant son. Later that night, the Emperor meets privately with the Prime Minister and orders the true seal of the Leviathan to be brought out. Legends say the seal must never be broken, but seeing Noah's growth, the Emperor begins to wonder what would happen if it were. The day of the Knight selection exam arrives, drawing massive crowds from all across the Empire. This year's turnout is enormous because everyone wants to see the Wise Prince judge in person. Noah casually sits on stage sipping tea when a candidate suddenly attacks him. His defense ring activates instantly, blocking the strike. The candidate attacks again and again, but the shield does not budge. The crowd witnesses the terrifying calm power of the wise prince. By sunset, one mage dumps all his mana into a flame attack. Noah blocks the heat effortlessly. The mage collapses, dreams crushed. Noah admits internally that none of the candidates have impressed him so far. Then the final candidate steps up. A blonde girl swings her sword. The shield blocks it. Then, shockingly, she breaks through and lightly wounds Noah. The guards rush her immediately, but Noah orders them to stop. He asks her name. She says, Shirley Grant. Noah announces she has passed. Later, Shirley kneels before Noah in fear, expecting punishment. Noah reassures her and asks her to attack him again. She obeys. This time, the shield holds. Noah explains that he allowed the first strike through on purpose. He wanted to see if she would obey orders without hesitation or fear. A knight who holds back is useless. Overwhelmed, she kneels and swears loyalty to Noah, pledging to serve him faithfully as his knight. And just like that, the wise prince gains his first true blade. Out of habit, he glances at his status and immediately notices a solid boost across his abilities. Making Shirley his subordinate did not just earn him loyalty, it straight up powered him up. Leadership apparently is a stat multiplier now. Before he can enjoy that thought, Zoe steps in and announces that the doctor has arrived. The man named Croy wastes no time and starts examining Noah like a professional who has seen worse than sword scratches. After a careful check, Croy confirms that Shirley's strike did no real damage. Shirley watches closely, clearly fascinated. Shirley spends the night at the mansion and wakes up the next morning buzzing with determination. She throws on her armor and heads downstairs, ready to prove she deserves her place. While walking through the halls, she overhears a group of maids gossiping about who Noah might marry someday. Zoe steps in and shuts that down, reminding them that Noah is 6 years old. One maid, Rihanna, scoffs and says Zoe is naive. She points out that other princes were already married by 15. Zoe stays calm, which somehow makes things worse. Rihanna instantly assumes Zoe must be secretly in love with Noah and studying magic just to impress him. Zoe gets flustered for half a second before correcting her. She explains that she is not studying for love or marriage. She simply wants to be useful to Noah because of everything he has done for her. With that, she walks away, clearly uncomfortable. Shirley just stands there in awe, watching Zoe leave like she just witnessed a rare legendary character. Meanwhile, reports from the knight selection exam arrive. The knights praise Noah's judgment, thanking him for ensuring that only the best candidates were chosen. Noah feels quietly satisfied. The future of the Empire looks a little less stupid now. To celebrate, Noah decides to throw a small party the next day. He invites his old friend Alaki to perform, wanting the event to be meaningful, not just noisy. During the party, Byron comes to pay his respects. Noah explains that the party was partially organized for him as well. Many merchants tied to the royal family are present, making it the perfect networking opportunity. Byron understands immediately and recognizes the thought behind the gesture. The party continues smoothly until Zoe informs Noah that an unusual letter has arrived. No sender. The messenger ran away immediately after delivering it. Shirley warns Noah that it could be dangerous. Noah checks the letter with the Leviathan, but the sword shows no reaction. Inside, the letter warns of strange movements among the remnants of the Almerian rebels. No details, just a warning. Noah pieces it together quickly. Whoever sent this is likely undercover, watching from inside. He suspects it is the soldier who previously warned him. Zoe agrees, remembering how much the soldier admired Noah. That realization immediately worries Noah. A soldier playing spy without training is basically a walking corpse. He plans to inform Henry so this can be shut down properly. But the next day, it is already too late. News arrives that the soldier has been exposed and tortured. He survives only because Henry's unit rescues him in time. Noah blames himself instantly. The man was tortured simply for staying loyal. As Noah thinks the soldier should have talked instead. No information is worth that kind of suffering. He orders Zoe to tell Henry's unit to spare no expense saving the soldier's life. Loyalty like that cannot be lost. The next day, Noah heads out with Shirley to buy a gift for Henry as thanks for suppressing the rebellion. An antique shop presents several fancy items, none of which impress him. Then he notices something covered by a cloak. The merchant lifts it, revealing a glass sculpture of a goddess made by the legendary artisan Lindsay. Only 2 exist. Noah immediately buys it for 10,000 rian. Right then, his brother Oscar walks in and realizes Noah got to it first. Oscar owns the other piece and had been searching for this one to complete the pair. Without hesitation, Noah shatters the sculpture. Everyone freezes. Noah calmly assures him the payment still stands. Oscar immediately understands. With one piece destroyed, the remaining sculpture becomes priceless. Oscar admits it is genius and, as usual, is impressed. Outside, Shirley asks why Noah would destroy such a treasure. Noah explains that the sculpture was never the real treasure. People are. Loyal people who dedicate their lives without hesitation. Those are the true treasures. Shirley smiles, realizing she serves the kind of leader people write legends about. She silently vows to follow him for life. 6 years pass. Noah is now 12 years old, taller, sharper, and preparing for another journey. By this age, Noah is famous across the empire as the prince who mastered the Leviathan sword. By imperial decree, he is stationed at the Ministry of Military Affairs, currently led by his brother Henry. Henry explains that a rebellion has broken out on the southern border. One night, Rias has been chosen to lead the suppression force. Mercy will only embolden rebels. Overwhelming force is required. Noah agrees Rias is the best choice, but asks how many soldiers are actually available. Rias freezes. Henry notices immediately. Rias collapses, confessing that the numbers were inflated. Noah explains calmly that this is common. Funding depends on numbers, so records get padded. Henry is furious, but Noah stops him. Inflated numbers could intimidate rebels. Henry agrees. Noah then asks for the real count, 2,000 soldiers. Noah writes a letter telling Rias to give it to the minister. The soldiers will be covered under miscellaneous expenses and Rias can keep the excess. The rebellion does not stand a chance. In return for Noah's little accounting trick, Rias is required to guarantee one thing: he must not lose. Rias swears that defeat is not even an option. With that settled, Noah and Henry ride through town in their carriages, the conversation finally slowing down. Henry brings up an important point. Noah has never actually experienced real combat. Noah calmly agrees and explains why. Young princes are forbidden from going to war unless the emperor directly orders it. Princes are not just family, they are assets. Disposable soldiers die, princes do not, or at least they are not supposed to. The empire has a long, ugly history of royal infants dying shortly after birth. Some call it disease, others whisper poison. Henry admits it would still be good for Noah to gain real battle experience before ruling his fief. Noah agrees and says that if the emperor ever gives the order, he will obey without hesitation. Suddenly, both carriages slam to a stop. A young girl in filthy rags has collapsed in the road. Before anyone can react, several men storm out of a nearby alley, dragging her by the hair and screaming insults like absolute trash humans. Noah steps out immediately and demands to see their registration papers. The men burst out laughing. Illegal slave traders do not exactly carry licenses. They assume Noah is just another rich, noble kid who wandered into the wrong street and think intimidation will scare him off. Instead, they step forward, planning to beat the lesson into him. Big mistake. Noah draws the Leviathan in one clean motion. The blade flashes. The fight ends before it even starts. With the threat gone, Noah checks on the girl to make sure she is safe. That is when another man steps out of the shadows. Unlike the others, he looks calm. Too calm. And he introduces himself as the real boss behind the slave trade and smugly claims his operation is backed by the first prince, Gilbert. The message is clear. Walk away or else. Noah takes a moment to observe him. The confidence feels fake, forced, desperate. Without saying a word, Noah releases the Leviathan's aura. The pressure alone crushes the man's resolve. He drops to his knees like his spine just gave up on life. Noah orders the knights to arrest everyone for falsely claiming authority under the first prince. As Noah walks away with Henry, he explains the reasoning. If these men truly worked for Gilbert, killing them would make it look like Gilbert openly supports slave trading. By labeling them as frauds impersonating his authority, the responsibility shifts back to Gilbert himself. Henry listens and once again realizes that Noah is playing chess while everyone else is still counting their fingers. That night, during dinner, a message arrives from Gilbert. Gilbert thanks Noah for capturing the men and says he planned to send them to court the next morning. Unfortunately, they were found dead while unattended. The excuse is clean. Too clean. Both Noah and Henry instantly understand what really happened. Gilbert had them killed to erase evidence. And Henry is not shocked. Gilbert has always been reckless and morally bankrupt. Still, knowing corruption sits this close to the throne leaves a sour taste. Noah explains that Gilbert's behavior makes sense. As the son of a concubine, Gilbert can never inherit the throne. That frustration pushes him to seek power elsewhere, in shadows and dirty businesses where he can still feel in control. Henry is stunned. He did not expect that level of psychological analysis from a kid. Later, Noah speaks to the slaves he rescued. He tells them they are free and can leave. Instead of relief, he sees confusion. They have nowhere to go, no money, no future. So Noah makes another decision. He buys them himself, not as property, but as people. They will receive food, shelter, and the chance to live normally. The children bow deeply, overwhelmed. Yet Dylan escorts them away to begin new lives. The next day, Noah summons Evelyn and drops a bombshell. She is being appointed as a regional administrator in Almeria, a maid to a government official. Evelyn nearly short-circuits. Noah explains that his territory is too large for one person to manage. He has watched her for years and believes she is the smartest and most capable among the staff. Evelyn hesitates, admitting she would rather stay by Noah's side. Noah refuses to budge. He trusts her completely. With renewed confidence, she accepts. Shirley starts praising Noah for his kindness, but he cuts her off. telling her such praise should not be spoken aloud. Then he quietly leaves, leaving Shirley standing there like she just met a living legend. Later, Noah is summoned by the Emperor, and he is praised for protecting Gilbert's reputation and handling the matter discreetly. Noah also learns that Gilbert reported himself afterward, a clever move to make himself appear clean. The Emperor asks if Noah was injured. Noah says no. The Emperor jokes that if he had gone undercover, hesitation might have gotten him killed. Nujol adds that such hesitation would be the highest crime against the imperial family. Noah calmly corrects him. Under imperial law, attacking a noble is only a serious crime if the noble's identity is known. Otherwise, it is treated as ordinary assault. The room freezes. Noah starts sweating, wondering if he just crossed a line. Before he can apologize, the Emperor bursts out laughing. He reveals that this was all a bet. He and Nujol wanted to see if Noah truly understood imperial law. Satisfied. Yet the Emperor immediately appoints Noah as the new Minister of Justice. The room erupts. Noah does not move. His brain is completely offline. That night, Noah attends a Lackey's concert. The music plays, but his mind drifts. He cannot understand how simply speaking honestly led to this outcome. Eventually, he stops thinking and lets the music carry him away. The next morning, Noah officially steps into his role as Minister of Justice. At the ministry, he is introduced to his second-in-command, Vinyasri. Vini looks calm, composed, and dangerously competent, the kind of man who has survived politics long enough to grow a second spine. Since it is his first day, Noah asks him to explain exactly how the ministry functions. No guessing games. Vini outlines the structure clearly. The Ministry of Justice coordinates courthouses across the entire empire. It ensures laws are applied consistently, judgments are aligned, and the legal system does not turn into chaos. For severe crimes like insurrection, a minister personally judges the accused, especially after the rebellion 6 years ago nearly shook the empire apart. Noah quickly understands this place is not just paperwork, it is the backbone of imperial stability. Then Noah asks Vinny a question that nearly makes the man choke on air. He asks how much Vinny collects in bribes annually. The room goes silent. Vinny freezes, then quickly regains composure and claims he does not accept bribes. Noah calmly tells him to relax. This is not an interrogation, he just wants the truth. No punishment for honesty. After a short internal war, Vinny admits it. Yes, he takes bribes. Not often. A few hundred Ryan per year. He explains his logic like a man presenting a business model. He basically optimized corruption like it was a side hustle. Noah listens quietly. Then he writes a check for 5,000 Ryan, about 10 times Vinny's yearly bribe income. He offers it on one condition. Vinny must stop taking bribes entirely for as long as Noah is minister. Noah makes it clear. The Emperor expects integrity. Even small corruption rots the foundation of the empire. Vinny studies Noah carefully. For the first time, he understands why the boy is called Wise Prince. Then he pushes the check back. He says he does not need the money. From this day forward, he will not accept bribes at all. Noah is skeptical for half a second, until his fire stat increases. That is all the confirmation he needs. Vinny is genuinely aligned now. That night, Oscar throws a massive celebration for Noah's appointment. But Noah is distracted. He cannot stop thinking about why the Emperor chose him. Oscar guesses it might be simple favoritism. Maybe the Emperor just likes him. Noah is not convinced. This feels strategic. He asks Oscar if he remembers when the Empire almost collapsed. Oscar nods. The old system forced non-heir princes into useless idle lives. That imbalance created instability. Since then, every prince receives land and education. Still, Noah believes this appointment means more. This is not training, this is positioning. Oscar slowly realizes what Noah is implying. If this is more than symbolic, the Emperor might be preparing Noah for the crown. Before Oscar can respond, a butler whispers something in his ear. The Emperor plans to appoint Oscar as Minister Prince of Finance at tomorrow's assembly. It is official. Meanwhile, armored men raid a shady shack in town. 167 individuals are arrested for plotting to pressure the Emperor into abdicating in favor of Crown Prince Albert. Naturally, suspicion falls on Albert, but there is no direct evidence tying him to the plot. The Emperor decides Albert will not be punished. However, the rebellion's leader will be executed. Privately, the Emperor reflects. Gilbert and Albert are unsuitable heirs, but Henry, Oscar, and Noah still show promise. He plans to test them. The next day, Noah reviews the insurrection reports. Every arrested individual is closely tied to Albert. Allies, associates, loyalists. Under normal circumstances, nobles receive lighter punishment, but insurrection allows zero mercy. The law demands execution by being cut at the waist. Still, executing Albert would destabilize the empire. Nobility would panic. Power struggles would erupt. Viney reminds Noah that the Emperor's order only mentioned those arrested, not Albert. Noah understands immediately. The Emperor is leaving Albert out intentionally. The next day, Noah kneels before the Emperor and presents his judgment. All 167 arrested individuals will be executed immediately. He explains his reasoning carefully. Since only those arrested were specified, Albert is not formally implicated. Swift execution prevents speculation. Close the case fast. No reopening, no deeper investigation. The Emperor listens and praises Noah's decisiveness and balance. As a reward, he increases Noah's annual allowance by 1,000 Ryan. Later that day, Noah and Shirley return home and instantly sense something is wrong. The gates are open. Guards lie motionless. Noah draws Leviathan and rushes inside. An intruder is finishing off a wounded servant. Noah appears behind him and cuts him down before the man can react. The attacker tries to swallow poison to avoid interrogation, but Noah uses his ring to stop him. More intruders rush in, and it does not matter. Leviathan amplifies Noah's strength and precision. Within minutes, the mansion is secured. Reports confirm the attackers were connected to Albert's insurgents. This was an assassination attempt. Noah understands instantly. Albert likely wanted to eliminate loose ends before interrogation exposed him. So Noah does something insane. He drives his sword into his own side, a controlled wound. He instructs Vinny to report that the attackers were executed for attempting to assassinate a prince. Officially, this becomes a lawful punishment for attacking imperial blood. The next day, Noah reports to the Emperor. The Emperor already knows everything, including the self-inflicted wound. With the Empire's intelligence network, nothing stays hidden. Outside, the Emperor reflects. 9 out of 10 great emperors ruin their legacy late in life. Noah understands the message. The Emperor no longer trusts Albert, but stripping him publicly would signal weakness. So Noah proposes a solution. Appoint himself, Oscar, and Henry as minister princes. Create a new role, Prime Minister Prince, for Albert. The Emperor initially refuses and tells Noah to focus on healing, but Noah pushes further. Albert has been crown prince for over 30 years. He's impatient. Give him a title that feels closer to the throne, but limit authority. The Emperor retains final control. Albert feels elevated. Stability is preserved. The Emperor stops walking. He did not expect this level of strategy from a 12-year-old. After a moment, he agrees. He pats Noah on the head. Instead of money, the Emperor leads Noah to the Imperial Vault and tells him to choose any item. Noah lets Leviathan guide him. He selects a small box from a shelf. The Emperor looks surprised. Noah opens it, flames explode outward, engulfing him completely. And that was episode 7. Subscribe so you do not miss what happens next, because this kid just walked into a fire and probably leveled up again.